In the shadowed depths of a bygone era, when the air was thick with intrigue and the streets whispered secrets, there emerged a figure who would shape the very foundations of organized crime. A man whose razor-sharp intellect and unwavering determination elevated him to legendary status, earning him the infamous moniker, the Brain. Born into a world of opportunity and corruption, Rothstein possessed a mind that defied conventional limits. From the back rooms of seedy gambling dens to the grand halls of power, his influence knew no bounds. Join us as we embark on a riveting exploration of the founding father of organized crime, Arnold the Brain Rothstein. The early life of Arnold Rothstein. Arnold Rothstein, born on January 17, 1882, was a New York City native and the second son of Abraham and Esther Rothstein. He belonged to a wealthy and influential Ashkenazi Jewish family, growing up in a luxurious home in Manhattan. Arnold's father, known as Abe the Just within the local community, valued philanthropy, piety, and honesty. He served as the chairman of the board at the Best Israel Hospital. On the other hand, Arnold's older brother Harry pursued a path to become a rabbi, while Arnold diverged from his family's footsteps. The only trait he seemed to inherit from his father was a sharp business sense. From a young age, Arnold resented his older brother Harry, feeling that Harry received more care and attention from their parents. A psychologist's interview revealed that the most emotional moment in Arnold's childhood occurred when he was 6 years old. At that time, his father discovered him sobbing uncontrollably in a closet, expressing his belief that everyone hated him and loved Harry. As the years passed, Arnold's jealousy towards his brother grew, especially when Harry expressed his desire to enter rabbinical school, much to their father's delight. Gambling became a significant point of contention between Arnold and his father. While Abe Rothstein disapproved of gambling, Arnold embraced it wholeheartedly. As soon as he experienced his first successful win, Arnold realized the allure of gambling and became unwavering in his pursuit. Education held little importance for Arnold, with arithmetic being the only subject that captured his interest. His proficiency with numbers stemmed from their usefulness in enhancing his gambling skills. Having been held back a few times, Arnold eventually dropped out of school entirely at the age of 16. Arnold explored various occupations as a traveling salesman, which he excelled at and enjoyed. However, the financial rewards did not align with his desire for a comfortable lifestyle. If Arnold wished to maintain the standard of living he had grown accustomed to, he knew he needed to pursue more lucrative business opportunities. From family feuds to criminal empire. An unusual event occurred around the time when Arnold was 18 and still working as a traveling salesman from Erie, Pennsylvania. He received news from home that his older brother Harry, whom he had resented throughout his life, had passed away from pneumonia. After Harry's death, Arnold's life took a turn. He decided to try one last time to make peace with his father. Arnold moved back home, stopped his usual gambling, and even went to the synagogue with Abe to show goodwill. But the peace didn't last long, and another argument broke out between them. Arnold left home again, determined to follow his own path. He fully embraced a life of crime and never looked back. He found comfort in the pool halls, bookies, and gambling dens of New York City, which became like a second home to him. He often went to Hammerstein's Victoria Theater and the Broadway Central Hotel, where he enjoyed his time. Rothstein became familiar with the locals who had a bad reputation and frequented these sinful places. Using his savings, he started lending money, although in small amounts, but he had a talent for pretending to be richer than he really was. He always carried a lot of cash and made sure to show it off wherever he could. He wanted others to think it was just pocket change, but it was actually most of his wealth. Rothstein freely spent his money, especially to support others gambling, with a 25% interest. If they didn't pay him back, his friends would make things unpleasant. Although he didn't do any dirty work himself, he had allies who didn't mind and ensured everyone paid up. This boosted his reputation and led him to associate with higher-level criminals like Timothy Big Tim Sullivan, who controlled voting in parts of Manhattan. Sullivan, who was 20 years older than Rothstein, became a mentor to him as they entered the New York underworld. He taught Rothstein the importance of building relationships with people of all positions, from janitors to judges. Soon, others realized that Rothstein would pay well for information about making money, legal or not. With this knowledge, he transitioned from small games to big poker tournaments, horse races, and fixed matches in New York. Wherever there was gambling, he would be there, except for betting on the weather, as he couldn't control it. Rothstein got rich and made his own gambling place with Sullivan's help, but there was a condition. He had to work with a man called Cher, who didn't trust him and often disagreed. To fix this, Rothstein paid Cher $40,000 to give up his share. With that sorted, he focused on making money. His casino on West 46th Street aimed to attract rich gamblers. It had showgirls, alcohol, and a fancy atmosphere. Even though he was only 30 in 1912, Rothstein was already a millionaire. He did illegal things like loan sharking, smuggling, and bail bonding to get even richer. He knew important people and taught mobsters like Lansky, Diamond, and Luciano. Rothstein had connections to New York's politics and could get favors. In 1913, two powerful corrupt people died, but he easily found new connections and grew his criminal empire. He opened new casinos and got into the drug business. His Saratoga casino, The Brook, attracted famous gamblers like Siegel and Lansky, who followed his lead and started their own fancy places. His investments in high-class businesses shaped the future of crime. In 1919, Rothstein faced legal trouble when the police raided a gambling place. Gunshots were exchanged during the raid, but no one was seriously hurt. Everyone at the scene, including Rothstein and his bodyguard, was arrested. He was caught trying to get rid of a gun and was charged with assault. However, the case fell apart because the police didn't properly identify themselves and there was no direct evidence linking him to the shooting. It's unclear if the ruling was fair or if he bribed his way out, but the result was the same. He was set free and continued his business with even bigger ambitions. The alleged 1919 World Series fixing. There is a long-standing story about Rothstein's alleged involvement in fixing the 1919 Baseball World Series. We don't confirm or deny his participation since there is no solid evidence. The events took place in October 1919 with the Chicago White Sox playing against the Cincinnati Reds in a best-of-9 series. The Reds won, but rumors spread that the games were unfair. Was it possible that some Chicago players intentionally lost the games? Did Rothstein pay them to do so and make money from betting against the favored team? Let's examine the story step by step. But why would the Chicago players risk the series? Well, at that time, athletes had very little wealth and power compared to today. The owner of the Chicago White Sox, Charles Comiskey, was known for being stingy and underpaying his players. One of his star players, shoeless Joe Jackson, earned only $6,000 a year, while others received just $3,000. Moreover, players were tied to their teams with no free agency, limiting their ability to negotiate better contracts. Considering these circumstances, it's not surprising that some players might have been tempted to throw games for a large payday. In this case, 8 White Sox players, including shoeless Joe Jackson, were implicated. They were accused of conspiring to defraud and faced a grand jury. They were later known as the Black Sox, but were not found guilty. However, they were banned from professional baseball for life. During the trial, it was alleged that 2 gamblers approached Rothstein with the idea of fixing the games. He decided to work with Joseph Sport Sullivan, paying him between $80,000 and $100,000 to arrange the scheme. However, during the trial, It was revealed that Sullivan only gave the players $15,000 and kept the rest for himself. Rothstein was called to testify before the grand jury, but was not directly tied to the fix and was cleared of any involvement. The unsolved murder of Arnold Rothstein. On November 4, 1928, Arnold Rothstein was shot in a hotel. He was trying to get a taxi to see a doctor at the back entrance. He went to the hospital and doctors took out a bullet from his stomach. The bullet hit an important blood vessel and he bled a lot. At first, they thought he would survive, but he died 2 days later on November 6th at 46 years old. While in the hospital, he woke up but didn't say much, only his age and address. He didn't tell the police anything. Nobody was found guilty of his murder, and the case is still unsolved. To understand why he was killed, we need to look at Mafia laws. It's believed he was killed because he owed money from gambling. Before he died, Rothstein played cards with 2 other famous gamblers, Alvin Titanic Thompson and Nate Raymond. Unfortunately, he lost a lot of money and owed over $300,000. People expected him to pay quickly, but he refused because he thought the game was fixed. This made the game's organizer, George McManus, angry. McManus wanted to talk to Rothstein privately at the hotel. During their meeting, they argued and insulted each other. He left the room with a gunshot wound in the stomach and died. Nobody was found guilty of the murder, and the case remains unsolved. Rothstein bet a lot of money and could have won over $500,000 after he died. This didn't matter to him much, since he was already rich. He just didn't like the idea that he was tricked. He wanted everyone to know that he wasn't easily fooled. Rothstein was known for inspiring a character in a famous American novel and for being portrayed in a popular TV series. He was a pioneer in treating criminal activities as well-planned business decisions. Some have referred to him as the trailblazing entrepreneur of organized crime in the United States. If you want to learn more about notorious figures and their impact on society, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss a captivating episode. Also, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know your thoughts on Arnold Rothstein and his contributions to the world of organized crime.